reminding myself things will get better when I'm older, things will get better, things will get better. Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. My name's Taddy, I'm an astrologer, and this is going to be a bit of a different video than my usual videos. I want to speak on healing after loss, and this is honestly a very difficult video for me to film. I've refilmed this video multiple times, and even though I've spoken on loss and grief and mourning on my Instagram, on my TikTok and other platforms, I wanted a place where I can really help people feel less alone. I really want to share a bit of my story, as well as resources, tools, and an exercise at the end of this video if you are currently just dealing with a lot of grief and have lost someone who you really, really loved. So I want to begin just at the beginning of my story. I lost my dad when I was about 11, and this was a very unexpected death. This was something that I didn't accept for over 10 years. It took me a really, really long time to fully understand and grasp that he was gone. It was this thing where I didn't really see him go. I was so young, and at that time I knew he was in the casket, but it was a closed casket. And with situations like this, I just didn't believe he was in there. I just didn't believe it was happening to me. And of course, I want to first say that, please don't watch this video if you easily get triggered. I hope it does help someone feel less alone. And that moment where I realized, okay, he's really gone, that didn't happen for years. I would constantly see him, or symbols of him or people that looked like him on the street. I constantly had dreams about him. I still felt my dad's energy for years, for so many years, and I still feel his energy now. I can still feel his energy now, and I'm in such a better place right now. But when I was 11, that was such a devastating thing for me to accept, that he was gone. He was one of my favorite people in my life. I could feel like he really understood me. He really understood me in a way that no one in my life, even up to date, has understood me before. And I couldn't sit with that grief or realization that no one could love me that same way as he did. And it took me some time to really understand that after years of blocking this out, I knew I had to do something about it. I knew I had to research or understand what was happening. Why was it so difficult for me to deal with this? And at that time, my undergrad thesis was on grief and loss and mourning. So I decided to put all my energy into creating, to make art. And I'm gonna leave like maybe a clip from it here, just to show you what I created. And it was an interactive installation of what was the last of the videos I had of him. And I wanted to showcase this in memories. What do memories look like? What does this feel like? And I'm so happy I did that project because I think just the process of understanding how to visualize loss helped me mourn in a way that I didn't expect. And that's when I first started to understand art as a healing practice, art as a way to help me cope with my grief and my loss. And then after that project, I couldn't really do anything afterwards. I did go to therapy a little bit in my undergrad. There were on and off again sessions. So that's when I started to begin my healing journey through therapy. And I want to say counseling because technically it wasn't therapy, it was counseling. So I started to begin my healing journey in this way, but I didn't fully understand things because they weren't able to assess me. They weren't able to fully assess what I was feeling, even though when I was younger, after my dad's loss, I suffered from anxiety, I suffered from depression. I honestly was at a point when I was younger where I wanted to end my life. And the thing that got me through that, if you are at this point, which I really hope no one is, like I really hope you're not at that point, please reach out for help. Please reach out to a crisis hotline. Please reach out to anyone that you can if you're at that point. What helped me through that period of my life was me telling myself things will get better and giving myself that hope that things will get better and reminding myself things will get better when I'm older, things will get better, things will get better, things will get better. And I would constantly repeat this to myself. And it's funny because when you think about the manifestation practice now, like in terms of the law of attraction and all this stuff, like this is what I'm getting into now in terms of my insight, because what got me through the most difficult time in my life was hope and repeating the same phrase, the same affirmation. I didn't know what I was doing at that time, right? But you have to cope in some way. You have to believe and shift your mindset in some form that things will get better. And I'm so grateful and happy that I did that. I'm so grateful and happy that I got through that period of my life. You couldn't pay me like $1 million to go back to that time in my life. And I am so grateful that I got through that process. And what happened after my undergrad thesis, so fast forward to my undergrad thesis. So after I completed that project, I took a few years to save up some money. I thought I wanted to become a professor at that time. I wasn't quite sure. And I decided to research death, mourning, grieving in my master's program, in my master's of digital media program, and how interactive installations can be used for processes of mourning. And I did a paper on this. If anyone's interested in that paper, I'm happy to send it for free. It's just, you know, research I've done, but it taught me that our environments shape us in so many ways. I really looked into the phenomenology of how the space affects the viewer, how we can feel the energy of spaces. And when I was looking into this philosophy, it made sense to me in terms of the interactive installations I was doing, but I didn't know at that time how much this process was going to help me in understanding how there's a bigger plan in everything. And I don't want to say everything happens for a reason, because sometimes devastating things can happen and it's terrible. We don't know how long we have to live. After my master's program, I went through a difficult breakup with the person I was seeing at that time, and I neatly had a breakthrough at that moment because I realized I wasn't living for myself. And this was a very difficult thing for me to accept because, as someone who has suffered through loss, and after my dad's passing, I also experienced the loss of my grandparents. I went to hospitals often. I went to so many funerals. I had both sets of grandparents pass away. I've had my godparents that pass away. So I kept experiencing all of this loss and grief over those years. So after my breakup, something switched in me and I realized I was not living for myself. And that was a scary thing for me because I knew how short life was. I knew how we can never know how long we live, right? We can never know this. And we can do what we can, but to know and truly experience the loss of someone, to truly experience that, I don't want to take life for granted. I never wanted to take life for granted again after that. And then I got into astrology because that really helped me cope with my loss. That really helped me understand the bigger picture of things. And even the hardship I went through with mourning my dad, with experiencing that grief and loss, when I got a birth chart reading done, I was able to see the bigger picture and I was able to see how I can use that grief and loss and transform it into something beautiful, into something that can help other people heal. And I knew that was my mission in life. I knew that was something I needed to do, and I just didn't know in what form. So now I'm at a place where I'm like, okay, I want to share what I've learned through YouTube, through other platforms. I want to share healing modalities that have really helped me. I also went back to therapy, in my master's program, after my master's program, after my breakup. And what really helped me understand things was, it wasn't until my master's program that someone told me, you just went through a lot of trauma. And that was also a light bulb moment because no one actually told me this. No one actually validated what I experienced. No one actually validated how difficult it was for me to try to live my life, just try to live my life, right? After, it's so hard. As a Cancer moon, it's so hard to not cry. After I heard that, it started to make sense, and it started to make me realize like there was so much work I had to do. There was so much inner work I had to heal, especially after my breakup, because that's when I realized, oh my goodness, I'm repeating the same patterns as my family. I'm repeating the same pain and thinking someone else outside of me is going to solve my problem. I was, it was this process of me thinking being in love and me thinking that a partner can complete me in some form, because that was a void I was trying to fill. That was a void that I really wanted to fill. And I am so grateful for my exes. I honestly am so grateful for both of them. Like, honestly, they got me through some very, very difficult periods of my life, and they showed me what love is. And I knew those relationships had to end because I needed to focus on healing work so that I would not repeat similar cycles of codependency, of healing my abandonment wound. And I want to state this as, I was in a really happy relationship, but I let my wounds really get the best of me at that time. I let my abandonment wound really take over. And this is what happens when you've suffered loss at a young age. And when you've suffered loss, your relationships and your career are heavily, heavily impacted later on. And they don't talk about that. No one told me that. No one told me, you know, I'm so sorry for crying, but I know this is the only way it's gonna get out. But no one told me that when you've suffered loss at such a young age, you will think that everything is your fault for a very long time. And I'm here to tell you that it's not your fault. It's not your fault. I'm here to tell you that. And if you are currently in a place where you feel as though you're seeing some type of impact by how your relationships and your career are impacted by your loss, and maybe you're not making those connections yet, and that's totally okay, but there's a huge advantage in someone growing up with two parents, someone who hasn't experienced such hardship. And there are other strengths to experience this too. Don't worry. There's other strengths of going through such chaos and pain at a young age, because it does make you stronger. And I know that's cliche, but it does make you into a person that can really appreciate the good when the good happens. And that's a beautiful thing. So I want you to know that there's no quick fix to healing. There's no quick fix. However, there's so many good tools to use to help you through this process. There's so many good tools, and I want to share a few of them. But just know that if you've experienced loss and you are still making those connections between your career and your relationships and the loss that you've experienced as a child, or it could just be a recent loss too, I think that's also important to note, because when you experience loss, it can be, that void can show up in a different place, and you're in a place where you're trying to fill this void in different ways. And the more you're able to sit with that pain and you're able to sit with that void and just feel your feelings and cry it out, just give yourself time, like give yourself a few days to really process and cry things out and journal and meditate, right? If you found this video and you just went through loss, grieve for a few weeks, like just give yourself time and space. And I know that's so painful. I know it can feel so painful to actually feel your feelings. But what really has helped me in terms of this is to acknowledge that feelings make you human. Feelings are there for you to move through your body and to just see them and detach from that pain as you, but that pain as just an emotion that needs to be moved through, you can just observe yourself in those feelings. You can just watch yourself as you cry. Watch yourself. If you have anger, scream into a pillow, do a workout, do something that moves your body. Our trauma can be found in our bodies. Our trauma can be found in so many different ways, in our subconscious, in our minds. And what has helped me is creating a routine of healing, making healing a part of my routine so that I do something every single day so that I can process my emotions, because I've seen what it's done to family members who have not dealt with that grief and loss. And it has it has destroyed them. It has made them into people that they don't want to be. It's made them revert back to their childhood selves. And just know that it's possible to live a joyful, loving life after experiencing loss. You can find peace after loss. Give yourself that time, give yourself that space. I'm gonna share a few of the things that I do daily that has really helped me. And that's meditation, it's journaling, making sure you go to therapy for, whatever you can afford, but there should be more affordable options now. I really hope there is, but if you can't go to therapy, do some research into certain courses or certain books or tools. I'm currently creating this library of resources, and I'm hoping to release that in the future. I'm still really in this process of researching loss and grief and how I can help people move through it. I want to help as many people as possible move through that loss and grief. So if you can implement tools and things for yourself in your routine that you can do daily, that's going to make such a huge difference for you. So let's say it's meditation. You can start with 2 minutes a day. You can start with 5 minutes a day. Make it easy for yourself. Then after you build that habit, I recommend Atomic Habits by James Clear, amazing book on habits. Once you've implemented that habit, start journaling, start brain dumping. And journaling is a great way if you just write whatever's in your mind that day. I usually love writing affirmations for myself because that really helps me cope, like writing affirmations of what I want to believe, of what I want to believe could happen. That's really helped me. EFT tapping is something new that I've experienced and worked with, and that really helps you let go of limiting beliefs that might be holding you back. And oftentimes when you've experienced loss, there's a part of you that has to process any type of scarcity because you don't want to lose anything else. And it's this weird energy of you don't want to lose anything else, but you're also more adverse to risk taking at the same time because you've already lost so much. So it's like finding this balance of what is a healthy amount of risks to take. And that's what EFT is teaching me. It's helping me rewire my brain into understanding what is possible for me, right? What can be possible for me? Maybe that's making a lot of money. Maybe that's getting lots of clients. Maybe that's a successful romantic relationship. And then I also want to recommend just doing a movement practice to move your emotions throughout your body. So movement is so healing. If that's walking, if that's running, if that's jogging, if that is doing Pilates, whatever it is, dancing, doing something for your body is so healing. It's so beneficial to process grief and loss because that is going to help shift those emotions, right? They're stuck in your body in some form. Another book I recommend is The Body Keeps the Score, and that speaks more on that. So if you're able to move through those emotions in that way, that's going to be super, super beneficial for you. And another tool I use, of course, is astrology. If you'd like a personal reading with me, I'm going to leave the link down below for that. But there's so many free resources. You could check out, the other videos on my channel as well. And astrology has helped me cope in a way where I can see that every hard, difficult situation will pass because these planets are moving, right? The world keeps moving no matter what. And astrology has helped me understand how to understand how we were nurtured, how to understand what works for me personally, what works better for me than you, or what processes do I need to include in my routine? What do I need to hear so that I can face my fears? And for me personally, I have Chiron and Leo, and this placement in my chart, I've made a whole video on it, but it's helped me understand the loss and grief I felt after my dad's passing. it heavily related to that. Chiron is known as the wounded healer, so it really helped me understand, okay, this is my biggest pain, but I can help others through this process right now. So I do recommend that. I do have a community. If anyone is interested in that, you could check that out down below. And what I want to share as an exercise for you, if you've watched this far, so thank you so much for watching. I'm so sorry if you are going through loss and grief, and I really hope this video makes you feel less alone in some form. Just know that you will get through it, and the more you're able to implement healing as part of your daily routine, the more beneficial it will be for you. And I do want to say community friendships are going to help so much in this process. So one of the exercises that has really helped me is to write a letter to the person you've lost. If you've experienced loss in terms of, you know, them passing away, you can write them a letter and write whatever you want to say to them. Write whatever you feel that you didn't get to express to them, or write what you're feeling to them. Just write them a letter. And then after this letter, write yourself a letter from them, from their perspective, and see what comes out. Because I want to tell you that they're closer than you think. And it's the energy of understanding, what would they say to you? What would they want to tell you right now? And really understanding this, right? Would they want to see you in pain? Obviously not. They obviously would not want to see you in pain. And understanding what words that they can say to you is going to help your healing process so much more. So write yourself those 2 letters, and please let me know if you do, if that is helpful for you. I honestly think it's helped me a lot in my practice and in my healing journey. And I'm going to probably make a few videos on this, on what has helped me. I really hope this video helped. I really hope this video helped. Let me know in the comments if it did, if you resonated with it, if you felt, I don't know, even just less alone in the process. I just want to send you all so much love. Please know that you're worthy of love. You deserve love. And the more you're able to show yourself love during this time, the more you're able to comfort yourself, no matter what that looks like. Maybe saying words of affirmation, maybe taking yourself out on a date, maybe it's dancing to your favorite music. It could making your favorite meal, right? Do those things that show your self-love every single day. Self-love is going to heal. It's going to heal you. It's going to heal your inner child. And I've done another video on inner child healing if you want to check that out. I really, really hope this was helpful. Let me know in the comments, and I'm sending you so much love. And just remember, the universe has your back, and peace and love. Take care.